Hey there, Danielle Matthews here. I am coming to you live from Florida. I help business owners and entrepreneurs, professionals, increase their confidence, decrease stress, all by learning how to master their inner world. This is something that I have been studying and doing for a long time, and it has led to the success that I have. And every single Monday, we get together for book club. So we're always reading books that are, I guess, more spiritually minded to get you past the mind, which is the cause of most of our problems. So for those of you that are here with me live on book club, please let me know when you arrive so that I know when we can get started. But those of you that are just joining, you can jump in. These conversations are conversations that it doesn't matter if you hear one of them, if you're here every single Monday, these conversations will support you in your journey. They are going to support you, and I would actually put forward, if you're running into this one today, the reason is you need to hear what the conversation is this week. We are reading Eckhart Tolle's The Power of Now. Good morning, Lou. Good to see you. Hey, Christy. Good to see you. The Power of Now. We are right now on chapter 6. That is the one that we just started. And if you want to catch up on all of the ones that we've done up to this point, you for sure can. If you go to my YouTube channel, it's just Danielle Matthews channel, you can jump in to a playlist that's got all of them. Hi, Charlotte. Good to see you. I'm glad I got to spend some time with you in person a couple weeks ago. Can you guys hear my dog? I'm in like a different room than usual, and my dog is back there chewing his bone. Is that distracting? You don't hear it? It's good? Okay. So this chapter was all about the inner body, and I loved what he said. He says, as long as you are in conscious contact with your inner body, you're like a tree that is deeply rooted in the earth. He said, or a building with a deep and solid foundation. So, okay, some of you say, no, you can't hear it. Some of you say, yes, you can, but it's not a distraction. All right, if it becomes a distraction, I can ask him to move rooms. So, he is just so happy that I'm home. He's like been by my side because I've been gone for 2 weeks. All right, so this, I want to ask you, do you feel, put a 1 in the chat. Do you feel deep roots? Like, do you feel connected to your inner body? Do you inhabit your body? Are you aware of your body? Put a 1 in the chat if you're like, yeah, I am connected in well with my body. I know what he's talking about. I have deep roots inside of myself. Put a 2 if you're like, I'm not even quite sure what he was talking about. This chapter was like a little bit different. I think it takes a little bit of time with this one. So 1 if you're deeply rooted and connected. 2 if you're like, no, not so much. All right, I see a 1 with Charlotte, a 1 with Christy, a 1 with Lou. I think some of you are on a time delay, so if you're hearing me say this, make sure you fast forward to where we are now in the live. You can always catch the beginning later. I want to do something with you all. It's a body scan. And this is a really profound thing. One of my spiritual teachers did this with me, and I went, oh my gosh, I thought I was connected with my body, but I wasn't this connected with my body. I wasn't this in tune in every moment with my body. So I'm going to move the dog to another room because it's a little much. So hang on. Hello, my love. Come here. Come here. There you go. I can't keep my head straight with that. Okay, sorry. We're back. All right, what I want to do, Christy says the blessing of illness is eventually you develop a deep relationship with your body in order to heal. Yeah, that's the same thing that I experienced. Like, I didn't realize how much the food I ate impacted my health until I had my brain injury. And then it was like, I would notice I eat pizza and I would get really brain fogged. Like, and I never had a correlation between my food and my health, which is crazy, but just that's the reality. So, all right, for this body scan, I'm going to be reading it because I want to make sure I hit everything. So I want you guys to stand up. Those of you that are joining me on this, I want you to stand up and just stand normally, kind of feet planted on the ground. And I want you to close your eyes. And we're going to take a tour. I'm going to direct your attention to various parts of the body. And all I want you to do is notice, but don't change, don't judge. All you need to do is notice and then move on to the next area of awareness. All right? You're not switching anything. It's just kind of we're taking inventory. If at any point you feel dizzy or unbalanced, of course, open your eyes and you can continue with just a soft gaze downward. All right. I want you now to bring your attention to your feet. Do you notice if one foot is more grounded than the other? Do you have weight on more of the front or the back or the sides of your feet? Now bring your awareness to your ankles. Are your ankles rolled in? Are your ankles rolled out? If you're just joining us, your eyes are closed, you're standing, and we're doing a body scan. Your knees, are they locked? Are they bent? Are they fairly neutral? Is one more bent than the other? If your hips were a bowl of milk, would the milk be coming out of the front because the hips are pulled back? Would the milk come out of the back because the hips are tucked under? Is one hip hiked more than the other? Is one twisted? Your ribs, are they jutting out? Are they resting against the spine? Are there any other differences to note in the ribs? In the shoulders, are they rounded forward? Are they held back? Are they neutral? Is one lifted higher than the other? What about your breath? Draw a full breath in from the pubic bone up to the top of the collarbones. And again, notice any places where the breath does not flow easily, any obstructions or a void. Now come to the neck and head. Where is there tightness in your neck? Does it pull your neck one way or the other, forward or back? Does the head lead the body? Or does the head follow the body? Or are you fairly neutral? Now draw an imaginary line through the center of your body, dividing the body into a right half and a left half, right down between your eyes, through the nose to a point between your legs on the floor. And bring all your attention now to the right side of your body. All the attention to the right side. What does the right side feel like? Are there any images, feelings? What would it be like if you just lived on the right side? Do you notice any colors, personality characteristics? Is it comfortable? Is it uncomfortable? Is it known? Is it unknown? Now shift your attention to the left. And attention on the left side. What's the left side feel like? Are there any images or feelings? What would it be like to live on the left side? Does it have colors, personality characteristics? Is it comfortable, uncomfortable, known, unknown? Now come back to the whole body, your whole body. Now imagine that you were a marionette puppet held together by a string. If I were to cut that string, which part of your body would fall forward? Which would fall backward? Where is there a division between the two? If the body wanted to fall another way, which way did it fall? Was there a dividing line? Now exaggerate the alignment of your body as you internally feel it, so that if someone was looking at you, if I could see you right now, I could actually see what it is that you're feeling. Just take a moment and feel that. Now take a full breath in and come back to the whole body. Come back and you can open your eyes. So, did that get you a little bit more in tune with your inner body? Did you notice some things? It's always interesting, the left and right side of the body. In yogic philosophy, it's the Ida and the Pingala, the feminine and the masculine. And it's interesting sometimes to see that dynamic. We don't often split the body in half. Was anyone surprised with what they felt or have something that they want to share? If you do, you can put it in the chat. I'd love to see, love to hear. With this body scan, I'm going to jump to page 90. Eckhart Tolle says, yeah, it's a good exercise, Charlotte, I agree. It's just good to come into the body. When you're in the body, you're in the present moment. And that was really the point of this whole chapter, was to teach you, when you come into your body, you come into presence and you quiet the mind. So he says you're free from the illusion that you are nothing more than your physical body and your mind. This illusion itself is what the Buddha calls the core error. When you are free from fear in its countless disguises as inevitable consequences of the illusion, The fear that is your constant tormentor as long as you derive your sense of self from this ephemeral and vulnerable form, the body. He says, and free from sin, which is the suffering you unconsciously inflict on yourself and others as you long this illusory sense of self governs what you think, say, and do. All right. So I'm coming back. I'm seeing comments now. Maria is saying, my left feels heavier and more out of alignment than my right. Yes, the right was solid. The left was tingling. And as a puppet, if I let go, I'd fall front to the left. Interesting. Yeah. So the left side is the feminine side. This is the more receptive side, the Ida side. The right side is the more masculine energy. So it has a stronger, more like guided feel. And the left is more flowy. So it's interesting. If you're having issues on one side of the body or the other, you might be neglecting and out of balance here. So Angela says the left shoulder would fall forward. Yeah, interesting. For those of you that are in Inner Management Mastery, we'll be talking about this more inside the program. All right. So this human experience, remember that you are more than this body, and the body is your partner. It's describing and letting you know. I read something somewhere that said the body is the subconscious, and the subconscious holds a lot of things, and you can literally just look at the physical body and you can become aware of some things that are held in you. All right. So just interesting to note, there's so much more we can talk about with this, but I want to get into what Eckhart Tolle had to say about it, because I think that he really did a beautiful job talking about things. And he says, this is one of the most essential tasks on the spiritual journey. One of the most essential tasks, he said, is to reclaim consciousness from the mind, because our mind takes our energy, it takes our consciousness. And really that consciousness is meant to fuel the entire body. It's meant to go through and give energy to all of the body. And as you just scanned your body, you may have noticed, like when you took a breath in, was there anywhere that was like void of energy? Was there anywhere that it felt like breath couldn't work its way into? All right, that is likely because your energy has been taken by your mind. They say you have a life force. And in the yogic tradition I study, they call it the energy body, your prana. And this life force breathes energy into you. But most of us expel all of that life force energy in our mind, worrying about stuff, being anxious about stuff, judging ourselves, judging others, thinking about the future, thinking about the past. Just on and on and on the mind goes, and it pulls all of that life force up into the mind. And therefore, the body is neglected. And it's really important to connect into the inner body, into the inner world, to figure out, one, what's it saying to you, so you can realize maybe what's been neglected, and two, so you can pull that life force out of the mind and into the body. Makes a big difference. So he says to inhabit the body is to feel the body from within, to feel the life inside of the body, and thereby come to know that you are beyond this outer form. To really connect in with what it is. He says, underneath your outer form, you are connected with something so vast, so immeasurable, and so sacred. But you are cut off from this being as long as the mind takes up all of your attention. How many of you feel like you live your life in your mind? Like, give me a percentage. Like, what percentage of the day is your mind chatty? Mine used to be 100%. I was like, what do you mean the mind turns off? Like, my mind is never off unless I'm sleeping. That's how it used to be. Now my mind is much, much, much quieter. So I would love to hear for you, what percentage of the time do you feel that you're in your mind? It's just kind of a good self-assessment. So Angela says about 80% of the time. Yeah, I would put forth that another 80%, says Shelley. Yeah, I'd put forth most of us, it's like 80% of the time we're in our mind. Imagine what it would be like to live in peace and quiet. Yeah, it's so funny. Everybody's saying 80%. Yeah, it's part of the human experience. We get distracted by our beautiful mind. So he says, though, when this happens, and it happens continuously for most people, you are not in your body. And the mind absorbs your consciousness. It absorbs this life energy and transforms it into mind stuff, meaning you cannot stop thinking. Compulsive thinking has become a collective disease. Yeah, look, 80%. Literally everyone's putting in 80%. It is a collective disease that humanity has, that we are all thinking so much. you're taking your life force into a place that is limited. If you understood that the mind is just a computer, right? It's just full of stuff that's happened in the past and that you've learned, but it's not connecting you to infinite potential. It's not where creative ideas come. I mean, most inventors will tell you their ideas came in between their thoughts, right? How many people get ideas in the shower? When your mind is really quiet and you're really just more present, ideas start to drop in. This is an inner knowing that can start to surface, like your intuition. You won't get intuitive hits if your mind is chatty because you're not hooked up. You're not hooked up to the divine, to source. Super interesting. I loved what he had to say. I'm going to keep reading this. This is page 92. I just thought it was so good. He says, your whole sense of you is then derived from mind activity, your identity. As it is no longer rooted in being, it becomes vulnerable and ever needy mental construct, which creates fear as the predominant underlying emotion. The one thing that truly matters is then missing from your life, which is the awareness of your deeper self, your invisible and indestructible reality. Lou says, I need to delete some of those files. Got to delete some of those thoughts. Yes. Yes, you do. If you all realize the power within you, you would quiet the mind. I mean, you would just get rid of it. You would just know that, okay, you're helpful in some scenarios, but majority of the time it's not helpful. It's certainly not helpful for solving problems. It causes you fear, which causes stress, which causes disease in the body. So, the mind operates on a binary. It moves towards things that make it feel good and it moves away from things that make it feel bad because the mind is here to keep our physical body alive. Like, we need the mind. It's not a bad thing. It's just that we go to the mind to try and solve problems the mind was not supposed to solve. Okay? The mind is meant to keep the physical body safe, right? So you don't walk out in traffic, so you don't touch fire, right? It's to remind you that, oh, that hurts. Oh, don't do that. All right? But then it gets in the way when we try and expand ourselves and to grow, or we go to it to try and figure out how to be happy. It doesn't hold those answers. That's not what it's here for. All right? Now, what I absolutely love, in yoga, they say the breath is the connection point from the mind to the body, because the breath is how we get the life force out of the mind and back into the body. So have you ever noticed, sorry, I had a call come in somehow. Have you ever noticed that when people always say, take a deep breath. In the West, we even know, take a deep breath, breathe, right? Calm down, take a breath. But in the yogic tradition, they have been studying the breath. In fact, they have different types of breath work for certain issues in the body, certain types of breath to balance your left and right, certain types of breath that initiate, the parasympathetic nervous system. Like, there's kinds of breath. But the breath always and forever will pull the life force out of the mind and connect it back into the body so it can start doing what it was designed to do. Lou says our whole body works on a binary system. Yeah, it does, the body-mind complex. I'm certainly catching myself and stopping myself when it goes off on a tangent. I love the exercise on page 93, connecting with the inner body. Yeah, page 93 was essentially, if you caught the beginning of this, I did a body scan, which was a more in-depth exercise than what Eckhart Tolle gave us on page 93. But there's so much goodness here, all right? He says, I'm jumping to page 97. The more consciousness you direct to your inner body, and now we know how to do that through breath, right? Breath is going to bring that consciousness, that life force into the body. He says, then the higher its vibrational frequency becomes. Who here wants to attract high-level vibrational things? All right. We do that through being in the body. Yes, Lisa, it's all about our breath. He says, much like a light that grows brighter as you turn up the dimmer switch, and so increase the flow of energy, when you are able to bring the life force into the body, you increase its vibration. Think about that. When you're in your mind and you're stressed and you're worried and you're fearful, you're absorbing all your energy up here and your vibration literally goes down. So how do we raise it back up? Well, we free that life force from the mind. We bring it through breath back into the body, through awareness back into the body. And now, just like you would increase energy as you put up the dimmer switch, all of a sudden there's more life force and the body's frequency increases. And he says, at this higher energy level, negativity cannot affect you anymore. And you tend to attract new circumstances that reflect this higher frequency. So if you keep your attention in the body as much as possible, this is probably the best advice of this whole chapter, you will be anchored in the now. You will not lose yourself in the external world. The mind won't pull you out into this world of form. You will not lose yourself in your mind. Thoughts, emotions, fears, desires, they may still be there to some extent, but they won't take you over, right? It's not like chatter ever stops completely in the mind, right? It's always going. It's sort of just like, it's like the computer kind of running in the background. Like it's going. But the idea is, can you bring the awareness, instead of focusing on that, focus on the body, focus on the breath. And it's literally, you want the easiest hack to quiet the mind, increase your vibration so you can attract in better. Breath, breathe. It is the best way. It's probably half the benefit of working out. Yeah, you're concentrated. You have to intentionally breathe. When I'm working out, right, it's like in through the nose, out through the mouth. Like you're more intentional. Anytime you can be present, it increases that because the energy is freed up. High five me if this is making sense. Like high five me if you're like, I'm in. I'm gonna do breath work. I'm gonna get my mind quiet. I'm gonna get my body to raise its vibe. Like, who's with me? Because this, to me, it's so subtle. And this chapter, like, I read it a couple times going, okay, what are we really getting out of this chapter? Like, why is he so intent on explaining, the body to us and the inner body and, in the yogic philosophy. Nice, high fives, cool. You can put the number 5 too if you can't find the high five. I love that you guys found the high five emoji. You guys rock. So one of the things that's interesting in yogic philosophy, they talk about the koshas, which are like layers of the body. They say, look, in order to come into form, like Einstein says, right, you have to like go through different phases. Like think about water. It's kind of like you have the ether, which is sort of like very ethereal, it's there. And then you have the air, which you can kind of feel moisture in the air sometimes. And then you have steam, which is like visible. And then you've got liquid water, and then you can make ice. It's like the most condensed form. This physical body is the ice, but there is also liquid. The liquid layer is that energy flow, that life force. There is the steam, which is the mental body that takes in information. There is the air, which is there, and you can kind of feel it. This is the intuition, the intellect. And then there's just the ether. This is called your bliss body. What's super interesting in this tradition is it says the mental body is over top of the energy body. So the mind dominates energy in our physical body. And because it dominates energy, it tells it where to go. Energy just follows the attention. So if you start thinking, the energy will go to the mind. But if you start breathing, the energy will go to the breath. All right, so it follows. And whenever you can quiet the mind, it allows energy to kind of get out of the grips of the mind and start to be able to take over. And that is where profound healing can happen. For those of you in Inner Management Mastery, we'll be talking about it a ton, and this is what the tools you're getting are designed to do. I mean, it's going to be incredible. So I'm so excited about that. It starts on Sunday. I've been working through this teaching, so it's on my mind a lot. All right, so jump into page 98. He says, do not give all your attention away to the mind and to the external world. By all means, focus on what you are doing, but feel the inner body at the same time whenever possible. Stay rooted within it. So I want to give you a challenge for this week. Whenever you are waiting, wherever it may be, use this time to go feel the inner body. If you're waiting in a traffic jam, if you're waiting in a line, if you're waiting for something to start, instead of mentally projecting yourself away from the now, why aren't we started yet? I'm ready to go. What the heck? I could have been doing this, could have been doing that, right? Then your energy is up in the mind. He says, go deeply into the now by going deeply into the body. And then you're using that as a time to raise your vibration. How many times in life are we in line and are we waiting? A lot. I just went through the airport. There were a lot of lines. All right. Was I stressed out, annoyed? No. I use it to be aware of my breath. I start to pay attention to things that are presently in front of me, and it grounds me. I would suggest that you try the same this week. Put a 1 in the chat if you're open to doing that. Just when you're waiting, do a body scan. Like I just taught you how to do a body scan. Maybe scan your body. You could be seated, you could in the car, you could be standing in line. Pay attention. See where your body's at. See if the shoulders are off. See if the shoulders are rounded, you know. See what you're feeling. Nice. Lou's going to do it. I love it. All right. Nice. Juliet's in. Charlotte's in. Shelly's in. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. All right. How would you like to not be impacted by the world around you? How many of you would like to just like not care, not be impacted by the external world? He says the answer. Unless you stay present and inhabiting your body is always an essential aspect of it, you will continue to be run by your mind. The script in your head that you learned a long, long time ago, that conditioning of the mind, right? That computer database from all your past experiences, it will dictate your thinking and your behavior, and you may be free of it for brief intervals, but rarely for long. This is especially true when something goes wrong in life, when the external world happens in a big, 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 big way. He says there is some loss or upset. Your conditioned reaction will then be involuntary. It'll be automatic, it'll be predictable, and it'll be fueled by one basic emotion that underlines all mind stuff, which is fear. So if you let your mind carry you away, you will not be able to handle when external circumstances go nuts. Guys, you are in control of you. If you can get yourself to show up fully in every moment, you will be confident, you'll be able to handle any stressor that comes in, and you'll be grounded in your body. You understand this? It's that simple. Like, don't complicate it, okay? I love this chapter because I went, man, this is something I learned a long time ago and have integrated. I'm always in touch with what's going on in my system. I'm always aware of it. You can be aware of many things at once, right? Like I was on the plane ride yesterday. I was aware of what the people in front of me were doing, the people diagonally, the people next to me, but I was also reading this book. At the same time, I was aware of a lot because we can be aware of a lot of things. So you can be talking now, you can be listening now and still aware of your body. Like I can feel that my body wants me to breathe deeper because I am talking too much, right? I am feeling that in my system. I'm aware of it. I'm also aware of how my feet are feeling on the ground, that I've been standing more on my right side during this. I've been locking my right knee and not my left. So there's awareness that can come in, and it's like, as you're aware of the body, you're teaching, okay, let's come back in here. Let's bring the energy force back in here. And when the energy force is in your body, it's just incredible things happen. So with that, I will just end with the same quote that I started with. As long as you are in conscious contact with your inner body, you are like a tree that is deeply rooted in the earth, or a building with deep and solid foundation. There is a parable so I love this. He says, there's an analogy used by Jesus and that is generally misunderstood. And this is the parable about the house. One man builds it on sand without a foundation, and when the storms and floods come, that house is swept away. The other man digs deep until he reaches the rock and then builds his house, which is not swept away by the floods. What they're saying here is they're not teaching you how to build a house. This is not what this is about. It's teaching you that when you remain grounded within, when you go so deep internally that you knock into the solid thing that is always there, that will never leave you, when you find that, it's like your roots of your tree are so deep in the earth that nothing will sway you. You will not be blown away by any storm that comes through. You'll be grounded in yourself. All right, and the way that we got there was through breath and through body awareness. And I look forward to hearing how this goes for all of you. For book club next week, we're just going to finish out this chapter. So it's kind of short. Stay posted in Telegram. If I feel like we want to start chapter 7, let's see, how much would that be? Chapter 7 goes to 119. That's 20 pages. Yeah. So, okay. Sorry, I'm like making decisions last minute on this one. Yeah, why don't we go from page 99 to page 109? All right, so we're going to finish 6 and start 7, and then the next week we'll finish chapter 7. I think that let's see, that should work well. Yeah, so we're going from page 99 to page 109, which is right, it's like the source of the chi. So I don't know if you all have my book, but The Source of the Chi is on page 108 and it ends on page 109. So you're going to stop right before it talks about dreamless sleep. All right, so we're going to go end of chapter 6, beginning of chapter 7. We got lots to cover. All right. Well, thank you all. If you got value from this, share it on your page. Make sure that you tag a friend. Send this to somebody that you think could get value from today's chapter. These discussions every single week are so different, yet so profound. I appreciate you all for participating. I will chat with you in our Telegram chat between now and next Monday. And in the meantime, practice being present when you're waiting, paying attention to the breath and the inner body. And you can always come back to this and listen to do the body scan again, right? This will always be up on my Facebook, on my Instagram, and it will also be posted on my YouTube channel. All right, lots of love, guys. Have a beautiful day.